Life Transitions with Coach Robin. No matter what you're going through, you always have someone that you can talk to. Life Transitions with Coach Robin.
Welcome and thank you for tuning into Life Transitions with Coach Robin on 108 Praise Radio, where we are voicing the gospel around the world 24/7. Meet Coach Robin every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we champion life transitions together. Family, thank you for allowing me to be your personal motivator, instructor, resource, and friend. Coming up on Life Transitions with Coach Robin, it's our What's Your Malfunction segment. And since this is the month of August, the month of Health Observance and Awareness, we are examining and re-examining those things and those areas that are malfunctioning in our lives, be it mentally, physically, and spiritually. Malfunction is it's spelled with a little twist. It's spelled MALFUNK shun. So it's a little funky. It doesn't pass the smell test. The things that we talk about during this segment just does not pass the smell test. Areas we need to clean up. We need to sanitize them areas a little bit. We need to get down to the nitty gritty. And those areas we want to deal with to go higher. We want to go higher into the next dimension. I don't care if it's higher and in your professional desires, higher if you're in ministry, higher in parenting, higher in every aspect of our life. And we just got to deal with that little funky thing in our life, those things that just don't pass our smell test. Just does not pass the smell test. And we need to take the time out. And just like we spring clean in our homes where we used to back in the day, spring clean and go through those areas and clean up and tighten up. Because like I talked about last week, we cannot do the work in the grave. We cannot do the work in the grave. So we have to tighten up. We got to go up to the next level. And that could be in our character, of course, our health, our emotions, and so forth. So last week, I just alluded to about last week. I started with our physical health. So I started a conversation about just some of those areas that need attention. And so Coach Robin, I love sharing with my listening family. I did a little research and I found out, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, better known as CDC, they gave us the top health concerns in the United States of America. And as I shared last week, we found out it was heart disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol levels, stroke, liver and gallbladder disease, sleep apnea, and respiratory problems, along with arthritis. So what we did, we discussed the top 3 concerns. We talked about the symptoms and warning signs. We talked about how very important it is to don't overlook those signs. Don't brush them to the back. Make those needed appointments, guys. Go get lab work done. Do what it needs to be done. God says if you do your part, sure enough, he'll do his. We talked about the importance of potassium and how the importance potassium is needed in our bodies. I shared a clip of what they consider, quote unquote, America's favorite doctor, Dr. Oz. A clip about him talking about potassium and how important it is for our bodies. So I'm not going to go back and recap the entire conversation last week. I encourage you to find Coach Robin on YouTube. subscribe to the channel, and you can see and hear all the the recaps that of our shows there for you. And I particularly, I'm always bringing authors and people that are in radio, or people that have information about investing your money, and all kind of conversations we have here. But this one is about your health, and it may not be as pizzazz and flashing lights, but anything about your health is important. So I would encourage, if anything, to check out last week discussion. Today is we're shifting, and we're going to we have a special guest with us that called in, and we interviewed her, and she, in spite of her disability, she is in a position of winning. God has took her from her disability. I want her to tell her story herself. So guys, listen in to this awesome interview.
You are tuned in to Life Transitions with Coach Robin here on 108 Praise Radio, where we are voicing the gospel around the world 24/7. Oh, family, I'm excited because we have started this, and we have joined in, I guess I would say, the August is Health Awareness Observance and Awareness Month. And we have made up our mind that this month, family, we are focusing on bringing resources, solutions, and having a needed dialogue and discussion in regards to our mental, physical, and spiritual health. And we know it here on Life Transitions with Coach Robin is where we champion life transitions together. And today we have someone on the show who has done just that, has championed and who have overcame the odds. So, family, let's welcome to the show Tanya Johnson. Tanya, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am well. I'm well. I am doing awesome. I thank you for taking the time out to be on the show today. And we are going to talk about disability. We're going to talk about, through your story, I'm going to give you some opportunity to share with my listening family about your journey in dealing with a disability. And with that being said, if you can just give them a little bit about your background, a little bit about yourself before we dig into this taboo subject that most people don't like to talk about, or they don't want to, it's almost like the elephant in the room. They don't want to talk about, but we're going to talk about it today on the show. So, Tanya, tell a little bit, my listeners, a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm just trying to see how I'm going to go. Okay, so my father, because I got to bring in my father into this situation. So my father and my mother, really, both of them was not able to attain their high school diploma. And if my father was still living today, he struggled with reading and even pronouncing certain words. He had to always have somebody to read along with him. And so then my mother, she never was able to attain her her high school diploma either. So my disability comes from probably something in generational, because you remember generational slavery time, we couldn't learn how to read and write, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where it probably is a combination of both of them. So my disability is a reading and writing expression disorder. It was when I was in elementary school, I had a disability up in the 70s. So 70s, early 70s, late 70s, disability is not like it is today, where they have all the accommodations and where they really took care of the children. So here I am, third, fourth, and fifth. I believe I stayed in the same reading the same books, sitting in the classroom reading the same books year after year. by that time, you really kind of, know the book. So I moved from Baltimore City. So I grew up in Baltimore City. My mom, I'm a single parent. And so then when I moved to Columbia, Maryland, I was about 3 grades behind when I went to take the testing. And so at this point, the disability hit me head on in Columbia.
I know you're not finished, but I want to, something just dropped to me. You said when you got to Columbia, which for those that don't, because this is all around the world, we're talking about in the Maryland area, outside of the Baltimore, outside the Baltimore city and county, there's another part of Maryland, which they consider, which is the Howard County, Maryland. So you went from Baltimore, I want to say city, schooling system and went down to Howard County. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
And I want to ask you something. And I know you were saying generational, but I have a question I want your opinion on. Even though with the generational aspect, do you think that Baltimore City dropped the ball in regards to your disability? Recognizing you had a disability and helping channel and develop you. What do you feel about that?
Yes, because I believe that if Baltimore City had the proper accommodations, it's like when students come in, we pack all these students, probably about 30 students in a classroom together. And so we don't take time out to understand that if you come in, you've grown up in a single-parent household where my mom worked 4 jobs. She didn't have time to go over homework with me. When I came home, I did my homework on my own. So here I'm coming back to school where the school system's supposed to help the individual. But if you got 30 students in a classroom and you got some students going faster than the others, then you can't help each individual student. So here you have students that probably their parents might read to them when they go home, or their parents might help them with their English and their pronunciation with their words when they go home. When I go home, I'm taking a bath and doing my homework by myself, and my mom's coming from probably her second job, just putting the food on the table, and at that point, we going to bed. So there's no help when you coming from a single parent household. You coming to school to get that help from the school. So yes, Baltimore City, I believe, drops the ball, and I think they still continue to drop the ball today. With individual students, even though people have IEPs, they don't understand that if you're coming from a single parent household, that IEP is not going to help you if you don't have reinforcement in your home.
Wow. For those that are just tuning in, we are here. You're here listening to Tanya Johnson, and we're talking about, which is in the vein of August being a Health Observance and Awareness Month, and we're talking about disabilities, and this could be considered, what do you consider this, a comprehension mental disability?
Well, let me just explain it to you. So it's a reading comprehension, and so it's a writing expression disorder. Now, the reading comprehension comes from, again, if it was reinforced at home in school, I'd probably be able to comprehend what I read. So when I go to read a book, all of it is jumbled up in my head, and I cannot. So the written expression comes where I can't explain it to you after I have read it. So in the writing expression, again, another thing, go back to generational. We were told when we grew up, we were told that a child is to be seen and not heard. Mm-hmm. And so when a child is told that, they're not able to express themselves. So you become an introvert. So, people don't understand when children come out of a single family household what really happens in that household. And, if I go to, the cursing, the parent calling you dumb, you're stupid, you wouldn't mount to anything, you hold, those things really comes in even with the read and comprehension and the written expression disability. So you grow up